In the early hours of 6 February 2018, an illegal gold panner was murdered in a dispute which involved a woman. His body was found leaning against a wall at a nearby house. Heavily armed police were involved in a 2-hour standoff with an angry mob. They had a torrid time trying to control the angry mob that intended to mete instant justice on the accused person who had been arrested after stabbing an illegal gold panner to death in a fight over a woman of the night. Alfayo Musanka, 24, from Makole village in Binga, was found dead leaning against the wall of a house in Gwanda, where he had staggered to seek help, having been stabbed several times all over the body in the early hours of Tuesday, 6 February 2018. This followed a row over a commercial sex worker he had hired at a local nightclub. The man died in the early hours. It is alleged that the victim, who was in the company of a lady of the night, met Tungamirai Kokerai, 25, at around 3 a.m. Kokerai was not amused to see the two together, as he was a former client of the woman. He demanded to know why the deceased was walking with his girlfriend. This resulted in a heated argument where Kokerai drew an okapi knife, and in the commotion, he stabbed the deceased several times. The gold panner was seriously injured and died at a nearby house where he had gone to seek help. He didn't get any because there was no response. As a result, he bled profusely to death. His body was only discovered at 6 a.m. by one of the occupants of the house. Then the drama started. When some gold panners and other residents and relatives of the deceased got news of the suspect's arrest at his house, a few hours after the incident, the gruesome incident, the mob decided they had to take the law into their own hands. For them, it was supposed to be an eye for an eye. Armed police and riot police prevented the mob from breaking into the house. In a bid to protect the suspect, the police were forced to flee with Kokerai into a house near his residence, with the angry mob in hot pursuit. Armed police and riot police prevented the mob from breaking into the house. The police had a 2-hour standoff with the angry mob. It is said that earlier on, angry gold panners had viciously beaten some commercial sex workers for causing the death of their colleague. It was only after the intervention of the riot police that the law enforcers were able to swiftly take the suspect to Gwanda police station. When the police finally escorted Kokerai into a police vehicle after several attempts to negotiate with the deceased's relatives, the mob threw stones at him and tried to attack him, but the police officers managed to shield him. As the police were protecting Kokerai, they were held hostage for about 2 hours. They had to do something to protect the murderer from street justice. Friends and family members of the deceased said that they wanted to institute instant justice, as they said that they had lost confidence in the police and the court system. At the time of the gruesome incident, residents were angry that the influx of commercial sex workers in the gold mining town had not only resulted in such incidents, but it was also responsible for destroying marriages. The body of the deceased was taken to Gwanda Provincial Hospital for a post-mortem. The 25-year-old Tungamirai Kokerai from Tswanga village in Chirumanzu appeared in court facing murder charges on 8 February 2018. He appeared before Gwanda magistrate Miss Nomagugu Ncube. He was not asked to plead and was remanded in custody to 28 February 2018. The prosecutor, Ms. Tererai Mahoma, said that Kokerai met Alfayo near house number 1057, Pagama Township, and an argument ensued over a woman. Kokerai decided to take the law into his own hands, and he stabbed his rival several times and the victim staggered to a nearby house to seek help, but all was in vain as he received no response. He bled to death and was only discovered around 6 a.m. This tragic incident is a reminder that as human beings, we have now developed a propensity to take the law into our own hands, and with the dire consequences. The case of Kokerai and Alifayo indicates the inability to accept defeat in whatever circumstance. The fact that the woman had decided to be with Alifayo was enough testimony that Kokerai had to move on. Such are the situations of life. But on the other hand, he decided if he could not have her, then Alifayo wouldn't have her. He decided to take the law into his own hands. This case indicates our inability to take the right course without using emotions. At the end of the day, all we have are regrets. If only I had not done this, that would be too late. It would be crying over spilled milk. Most cases, these decisions are made at the spur of the moment, and the consequences, as usual, are dire.